Hi there, my friend. Have you ever wondered that how is it that some people have content, original content coming out on their social media, on their email marketing, on their blog, on their YouTube channel, week after week, and you wonder how does that work in their business? Aren't they busy? Do you want to be there? I've got you covered. Hi there, and welcome to another masterclass, mini masterclass for small and local business owners. So, I'm going to share something with you. I'm going to share probably an industry secret in today's masterclass. I'm going to go and let's try what we're going to talk about this week. All right, today we're going to talk about how the wonderful world of batching will eliminate content stress. Yes, there is such a thing. I think there should be registered as content stress or where can you use batching in your business? Then I'm going to go through the 7-step wonderful world of content creation bliss. And then we do some Q&A. Yes, it does exist. All right, without further ado, let's begin. Okay, in the last week mini masterclass that we did, we talked about why creating original content is important for a small local business owners. What it does is it develops trust and credibility. We all know that we buy from people we like and trust. And that's what creating original content, it's going to give you that. Content builds deeper relationships. It segments your audience. We understand from the content we produce where they are, who they are, topics of interest, which is your products and services, connects with the prospects at the early stage of buying cycle. If you know the buying cycle, there is different stages that people go through this cycle before they make a purchase. So you can connect with them in early stages, because when it comes to the low-hanging fruit and when it comes to the time they are ready to purchase and buy your product and service, the competition is really high and the conversion is really low and it's just too expensive. So when you are doing your content, you're creating your original content, it lowers your lead cost and much more. So if you are like, we're going to talk about why you must have a system and plan. You could be like so many of other small business and local business owners that you struggle to create content. You create content when you feel inspired, or importantly, when you have the time. You're stressed and have no idea what to create, inconsistent, and you're reactive with creating content. You post, this is my favorite, and I've seen it so often, that you post random content without any alignment with your business goals and strategy. You're not getting any engagement from your audience and your customers, and you're wondering why. And hasn't created any of your content or content creation. It hasn't created any leads. Essentially, it feels like you're wasting your time and resources. And my friend, you're not alone. So there is a better way to create consistent and original content without the stress and overwhelm. And this is industry secret. If you see people producing content day in, day out, week in, week out, it's because they're doing this. There is a better way, and that better way, my friend, is content batching. I like to welcome you to the industry secret, whatever that thing is. It's called content batching. So let's find out, what is the content batching? So content batching is when you group a similar task, aka you're creating content, together to work on at the same time without interruption. That's what they do, people. My friend, this is what they do. We put aside a chunk of time, and we put a certain exactly similar task, and we do this similar task in those specific already booked and scheduled in our calendar. So that is the content batching. So let's say, we talked about what's batching. So what is the benefit of batching? This is so important. So when I talk about batching, let's go back. We're talking about content batching because we're talking about content marketing here. But you can do this batching in anywhere in your business. It doesn't have to be your content. You can use it anywhere. So what's the benefit? Increases your focus. No, it will stop you from task and context switching. This is actually proven when you are switching context or switching task. I think it takes about 20 to 25 minutes for you to get back to doing this task. So imagine how many times gets wasted, and our brain needs to come back and sort itself out and focus again to work on this particular task. So there will not be any switching or any context or task switching. Task switching increases your productivity. It decreases your distractions. It saves you so much time. I actually should have put stress as well. I can guarantee you it does eliminate stress. My favorite part is allows you for white space. What I mean by white space is when you're continually working on something every day, day in and day out, and you have to, because everything requires energy for you to do it. You get rid of that willpower, or not get rid of it, you go low on your battery and low on energy to create new stuff, to work on your business, to scale your business, to grow your business, to bring more leads, to look after your existing customers. So that white space in our brain and in our calendar, it's very, very important, and it's going to help you enormously. So where can you use batching in your business? I've actually gone through and I separated it, and I mainly put it specifically for the content, but we're going to go through the miscellaneous part of it that you can absolutely use and you can batch. So the first thing is writing. So we can batch the writing. We can batch if you're doing blog posts, you can batch writing of your blog post, video script. What I'm doing here is already been batched before. If you're doing podcasts, your podcast outlines, your podcast show notes, your lead magnet, if you're doing your website content upgrade, or if anything to do with your website, emails to your subscribers, that can be batched. Your social media posts can be batched. So that's part of the writing in your business, or in regards to content marketing you can use. The next one is recording. For example, if I'm doing videos, I'll batch them. So I'll do them in a day or two, depending on how long is the video or what sort of training I'm doing. I've noticed that with the videos, I probably maximum I can do, it's about 2. When it goes to 3, I get really exhausted and tired, depending on the size of the video, obviously, the length of the video. Your podcast, your interviews, if you pre-record, if you have a podcast, or if you have a YouTube channel and YouTube show, and you can pre-record your interviews. If you've got group or membership site, you can batch your training videos for them. The next one are the tasks. This is also very important to know that you don't necessarily, this is not just for content marketing. You can do that you can batch your task like checking your daily emails. Networking. I actually have specific days that I only do my networking on those days. I don't do any other day. I only do them in that specific day because it works better for me. It works better for my business. It works better for my productivity. So I do them. I even batch my networking one-on-ones, your bookkeepings or my bookkeepings, your social media engagement. This is also very important. You can actually batch. When I say batch, it doesn't necessarily mean once a week or once a month. You can batch them as to first thing in the morning. The first thing I do, I check my emails if there is anything from the night before, or if there's any engagement on my social media, or I can do it every day on lunchtime or before, and when I close the business. So this is all depends. That's still considered as batching. If you have client meeting, I actually have specific day that I do the client meetings. Group and individual coaching. If you are a coach and you do coaching, you can batch those group or even your individual coaching. You're creative, you're post creative. When I say about post creative, if you're doing graphics, which we talk about it in the steps that we're going to go through, you can batch them as well. There's so much you can do and much, much more, my friend. So you need to find out as to what other task have you thought about it. Oh my God, there are other tasks that you can absolutely batch in your business. So now that we know what batching is, now that we know how to do this batching and where we can actually use batching in our business, let's talk about the 7-step. I'll go through that I do for I call it the 7-step to the wonderful world of content creation bliss. And if you were wondering, does that exist? Is there ever a content creation bliss, my friends? The writer's block. If you go through these steps, you're not going to have the writer's block. So the first step, so these are the 7 steps I go through in my business, how I create content. And every step is the batch time. We go through the time and the hours as well, and you will be able to see. Step 1, it's the planning. Step 2 is the topics. Step 3, outlines. Step 4, delegation. Step 5, creation, being writing or recording. Step 6, we review, we edit and repurposing. Step 7, it's scheduling. So let's just go into each one of them deeply. So step 1, planning is the key to your batching success. It's very, very important. So I'll go through every time I'm going through batching, every time I sit down and organize a batch. Before I go, I'm going to show you something. Every 6 weeks, so I decided that I will do 6 weeks of content. The reason I do that is the reason I would like you to do and determine how many times you how many you want to do it in your batching session. I'll do it in 6 weeks because I don't believe in, I'll show you why I do in 6 weeks, and you don't need to recreate new content. You can use your long form content to repurpose for more content that you put out. We go through it in the steps. But what I do is I actually block time in my calendar. I'm going to show you my calendar. I do not change. Those times are blocked in my calendar. I will not book anything on those days. I won't, I organize a week. So 1 week is actually dedicated to creating everything I need to know. Any batching that I have to do in my content creation or anything, that week is the week that I block it out in my calendar for every 6 weeks. And I don't do anything. There is no, unless there is an emergency with the clients, that's the only time, but it hasn't happened and I don't have to do it. So I'm going to show you the blocking that I've done in my calendar. So one thing I suggest for you to do is before you go through anything, organize it and block it in your, this is a bit slow. I would recommend for you to block it in your calendar. Okay, so I'm going to show you my calendar. It's okay. So as you can see, for example, for my next 6 weeks, this is actually booked. It's all booked, blacked out, and I will not do anything except obviously when anything to do with my group that does not affect me serving my clients and serving you. So I block it out. I don't do anything in that group, in that week. I don't, there is no catching up with anyone. There's no networking. Nothing happens because I want that chunk of time to be dedicated to my content. That's how I believe I can create the best content, original content. We don't want to copy and paste someone else's. We want to have our own original content. So back to the step 1, which is the content planning. I've got in there maximum 2 hours. You don't need 2 hours, but I want you to remember, I think there's a law of Parkinson law, I think it is. I don't know what it's called, but that Parkinson law, it tells you the task will take how much time you give it. So I don't want you to go more than 2 hours. You don't need to be more than 2 hours. What I do is I'll decide on how many blogs, videos, and podcasts to batch. I've actually decided 6 weeks for me. You don't have to, depending if you've got resources in place, if you have help, if you have VAs, if you have copywriters, this is all depends on the size of your business. But if you are solopreneur and you are doing everything, and you might every now and then you want to create your own content, original content, because you are your brand, then definitely decide from the beginning, do you want to do 4 or you want to do 6? And that's totally up to you. Number 2, in part of my planning, the second thing I check is my promotional calendar. And I 100% recommend for you to check your promotional calendar. So in that promotional calendar, you check to see when you're doing your 6 weeks of content, do you have a sale in that 6 weeks? Is there a seasonal promotion that is specific to your business? Is there event triggers specific to your industry or business? So this is what I check as well. There's another one, the number 3, and I just have, so we'll go through it. I've got so much happening in my mind. So this third thing I check is if there is any event related to my business and audience, and that applies to you. And is there any special day that relates to my business? For example, when I say special day, when we had Valentine's Day, was it last week? I think it was it 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. Anyway, Valentine's Day, or you got Mother's Day coming up, or if you're in health and fitness, or anything that is season triggers, is a special event. Or if they get engaged, if you're a photographer, for example, if they get engaged and they need to I don't know, book you for their wedding, if you're a wedding photographer. If you are you do baby photos, then if there is a wedding, I don't know, these are all the triggers that it will come up, and you probably know if there is any special day that relates to your business, to your products and service. The 4th one is holiday or vacation. So when I say holiday, if there is a special holidays coming up in wherever you are, or vacation is if you are going on a vacation. And one thing is to ask yourself is, if you are taking holiday for yourselves, could the tribe be I don't know why I went tribe. Could the trip, it meant to be, could the trip be shared as part of my brand awareness, as part of my content? It could be something depending on who you are, what your brand is. And obviously we want to know where you are. We want to know what you do. We want to get to know the person behind the brand. So, but you have to be comfortable. If you are comfortable, to share that. But that's your first step. You have to get this organized. Before we get to the second step, I'm going to tell you why we need them to move on to the second step. So second step is content topic. And again, I've added maximum 3 hours. So now that we plan and we're going through what is happening in the next 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how many original content obviously we're going to create. So now that we gone through it, we're going through the planning, we know if yes, we have a sales coming up, we have a special sales, we have a promotional season which is specific to our business. We need to think about that. So that's when, from all of that, that's when you find your topic. Before you do anything, if you go back and look at the content creation and planning for the last training, we went through the topic part, what to ask, what not to ask, what to ask to get your topic. So what you need to do is, now we're not creating anything. All we're doing is, based on our planning, understanding what the next 6 weeks is going to be. Based on that, now we're going to come up with a topic and flesh them out of it. So I've allowed 3 hours. I don't want you to go more than 3 hours, because you're only doing 4 to 6 weeks. If you want to do more and you have a content team that they can do it, 100% do that. But even for that, even if they're catching up and having there's my pet hate about meeting. If they're meeting, it has to be a productive meeting. It has to have an intention. So if it's a group of them, more than 3 hours, it's just a waste of time, and you're wasting your resources. So make sure it aligns. So I've said that in there, that make sure it aligns with your goal, make sure it aligns with your business, and it is your core content. We're talking about original content, that is your pillar content and your core content. So by content aligned with your business, I don't mean that content you're creating is just promoting your business. It's the content that is going to provide value to your audience and make you the small business that they trust. Because content creation, it's all about building credibility and building that trust. So don't make it about promotion. Don't go crazy on creating all about your business. It's not about that. It's just creating content that you are introducing your products and services. You are showing them how credible you are. They can trust you, and you are there. You have the solution for their problems. So now the next step. So we created the topic. So next step, we're going to create an outline. I put 2 to 3 days just to give you enough time. You can go 1 day, depending, obviously, depending how many content you want to produce. The outline is, so you've created you put topics down in the last step, and now you selected your final topics, and you're happy with it. And now it's time to put together an outline before you start processing the creation of the long form content. So the outline is, for example, if you're doing I'm going to tell you why I want you to do outline. I want you to do outline because we'll talk about the next step. So when you put the outline together, it's going to make it easier for you to actually create the long form. Outline being the heading, being if there is different steps, for example, that in here, if it's different steps. So these are the outline, content batching, the different steps. So then I put them together, and then when I do that, then I go in. So this is what I mean by the outline. Then I go in and create a long content. So we do the outline. So now that I create an outline, the reason I want you to do the outline is when you have to delegate it to other people. So if you have a team that if you have a copywriters in your team, if you have a VA who helps you out, now it's a time, because you put the outline in there, you know what you want. It's either point form, however it is. It's understandable for your VA and for your copywriters to know what you want to talk about, what is in your head, because unfortunately they can't read our mind. So that's what it comes in. That's where the step 4 comes in. If you do not have a team members, if you don't have anyone who actually does that for you, or if you don't have the resources who does that and you're just starting out, this is you. There is no delegation. You just go to the next step. So now we delegated, and I said maximum 2 hours. Please do be careful. You don't want it to take over your business. So now we're going to the step 5. Now it comes to creating your content. This is a long form content, being creating your videos, recording your podcast, or writing. So if as part of your your long form content could be creating videos, or weekly videos, or your content is creating weekly blogs or weekly podcasts, excuse me, big bottle. So if you're creating that, now step 5, it's the time to create those ones, to create them. It takes a bit longer. For example, when I record a video, like I said, it does take a bit longer to do them, depending on how it all depends on you. So I'll put 2 to 3 days, because from the experience that I have with other clients, it is 3 days is the maximum, because what you're doing is you're taking them step by step. Before we go, I don't mean that you have to do this in 1 day. So I don't mean the planning is in 1 day. I don't mean the planning is some of them, like for example, up to step 4, you can do it in 1 day. You can just book it in, batch it in, and do them one after another. It's just a matter of organizing and putting it in your calendar, that chunk of time that you're only going to be concentrating, for example, on the planning, for example, on selecting topics or delegation and all of that, putting your outline together. So I don't mean that you have to do all of this together, because we get the step 5, which you got to create your content. That alone might take you 2 to 3 days. So that could be, for example, mine starts from Monday and finishes on Friday. So that could be starts on Tuesday. So my step 5 could start on Tuesday and Wednesday, and might actually, depending on how long is the video, it might actually go into the Thursday morning as well. So the next one, the step 6, is the review, edit, graphics, and repurposing. Again, 1 to 2 days. This is after when you created your content. Then we're going to batch our review, edit, graphics, and repurposing. So obviously, if you have someone else who's actually writing your copy, I 100% recommend for you to read and review and understand and be happy with it, because this is your business's voice. Your staff, your copywriter, regardless of if they understand it or if they know it, it is still our responsibility. The business is ours. The business is your baby, or actually don't like that word. Business is yours, and it's so important for you. Even if you have people doing your copywriting, the graphic, and everything else, you must review. Even if scheduling gets done by someone else, you must review to be happy. Is this representing who I am and what my business is about? If it does, that's fantastic. I will not recommend anyone not to review. Obviously we're talking about small business. With the larger businesses, they do have a marketing manager, and I do recommend that you must review to make sure. And I don't want you to take a lot of time. So then you're editing, if you need to edit. Editing could be your podcast editing. Editing could be your video editing, if you have someone who does that for you. Then I'm going to talk about repurposing. This is so important. You know, you're thinking, but hang on, I've only created for content. I haven't created. I want to post every day. I want to post 3 to 4 times a week. You tell us that we have to do it. I don't know what to do. You don't have to keep creating new content, my friend. You can actually, that's why I said you need to do long form. And from there, you repurpose them. So you pull out quotes on the stuff that you wrote. You pull out quotes. You can actually, from your long form, you can pull out some social media posts. From this training, I can take so many social media posts out of it. I can talk about repurposing. I can talk about the steps in a very simple way. And then from this video alone, like from doing this, I can actually do a little tiny clips of videos for my social media. So you do not, please understand that you do not have to recreate. You just grab a snippet of it. You think, okay, this part is actually really good. I can reuse that. I can repurpose that. You do not have to create 5 days worth of content, new content. You can use what you're creating. Again, we're going back. It has to align with your goal, marketing goal, your business goal, and your strategy, the content you're creating. And I kept saying it has to go back and align with your business strategy, but you got to remember this is for them. It's not about us. It's about your client, and it's about your audience. So then, statistic you can share, these are all posts. You don't have to recreate them. All right, now we've done everything, my friend. It's time to schedule. 2 to 4 hours maximum. So you have created everything you need. It's at the end of the day. Let's say it's Friday. You started on Monday, and like me, it's Friday, and you finish them. It's all done, and all you have to do is you just have to schedule, which is so easy because you've got your graphics sorted, you've got their videos has been edited, the podcast has been edited, you reviewed your blogs, everything is there. You've taken the snippet, it's all in your Google Doc or whatever you use, Evernote or Google Doc, it's all there. And you're like, okay, I'm ready. And now you can post it. You can schedule it. If you are using any automation software, It doesn't really matter. I don't know if there is a specific ones that you want to use for your social media, but don't stress out. Work with whatever works for you, whatever you're comfortable with. So you can schedule your blog content, your social media posts, you can schedule your emails to the subscribers, you can schedule your videos and podcasts, and if you have a specific membership group or any like group, for example, for where we are here, you can do post your specific content for the group. So these are the 7 steps I want you to go through. It's very important. So the steps are, let's go back. Do you think I know what I'm doing? So there are 7 steps to the wonderful world of content creation bliss, my friends. It does exist. So there's step 1, content planning. Step 2, you're choosing your topics that you're going to talk about based on your planning and based on your promotional calendar and based on what's happening in your business and align with your business goals. Then you create your outline for the content. If you have the resources and you're delegating your copywriting, your graphic creation, then there's time to delegate. But and then step 5, if you do not have resources and you're doing all of that yourself, then you move to the content creation section. That could be recording your videos and podcasts and writing your blog post. Step 6, you review it. Again, you as a business owner needs to review it. Even if you have people who are doing this work for you, I do recommend for you to review it if it represents yourself and your business. Eventually your team will know about you and about the business, but still I would 100% recommend for you to review it. And the repurposing, use the snippet. You don't have to keep creating content. All you have to do is repurpose it, my friend, and then schedule it. So what I would like you to do is, okay, so what's next? I want what action to take, because I want you to do this. I want you to win. I want you to download this slide for the reference because it's got the step-by-step in there. Decide on what you are going to batch. Again, we talked about it. Are we going to do the writing? What part of the business we're going to batch? Add your batching day to your calendar. This is what I want you to do. Add it to your calendar. It's so important. If it's not in your calendar, it's not going to happen. And my friend, enjoy your new content creation bliss. I know it exists. And imagine how many extra time you're going to have. So, my friend, this is all about it. That was our training. Hopefully, we're going to go through Q&A. I just don't know if anyone is here. Let me see. I'll go to... Let's see if anyone is here. All right, I don't have anyone. All right, my friend, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Make sure that you go through and you print. Let me see. So this is what I would like you to do. That's your task. Make sure you print this. Make sure you start. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm happy to help you out. And thank you for being with me. Thanks for your time and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.